Hi, I'm Doug, and these are Wycliffe's words. What term would you use to express enthusiastic encouragement? Let's say your best friend sends you a text that says, "I got the job." How do you respond in a word or two? I have an old-fashioned streak, so I might reply, "Hot dog." An aging hippie stuck in the 60s might say, "Far out." If you own stock in a tech company, you might reply, "Yahoo." A Marine would probably just grunt, "Hoorah." And then there's a phrase I learned a few years ago when several of my co-workers responded to such good news by typing, "Woot woot." I wasn't quite sure what that meant, but it sure sounded enthusiastic. But I mean, woot isn't even a word, is it? Well, as a matter of fact, it is. The use of woot to express elation, enthusiasm, or triumph, which first popped up in the 90s, became an officially recognized word when it was added to the Concise Oxford English Dictionary in 2011. The linguists at Oxford say that its origin is uncertain. But there's another woot, a woot with a much older and more prestigious pedigree. It came through Old English into Middle English, and it's right there in the Wycliffe Bible. In fact, it's such a common word that it appears in its various forms well over 500 times. It simply means to know. Okay, if we want to be precise, the infinitive to know is witten. From there we get I woot, you woost, he woot, we or they witten. Last week, we looked at the disciples who ran away when Jesus was arrested. They'd failed the test. But Peter was given a chance to redeem himself in Pilate's courtyard. A servant girl recognized him and pointed out that he had been with Jesus. Here was his chance to stand up and be brave. But he denied it. And he said, "I woot not what thou sayest." I don't know what you're talking about. Strike two for Peter. So Jesus was crucified, placed in a tomb, sealed with a stone. Then, on Sunday morning, after the Sabbath, a pair of women came to complete the embalming process. Their sorrow turned to joy when an angel spoke to them some of the most beautiful words ever heard. "I woot that ye seeken Jesu that was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said." These two women, the first evangelists, ran to the disciples and proclaimed the good news. Soon after, Jesus appeared to his disciples and gave Peter one more chance. "Do you love me?" he asked. "Yes, Lord. Thou woost that I love thee. You know that I love you." "Feed my sheep." In other words, I'm giving you a job. No third strike for Peter. Later, Paul put it all together in his second letter to Timothy. He says that God's grace is possible because of the resurrection of Christ, who has destroyed death and has brought life and immortality to light through the gospel. And of this gospel I was appointed a herald and an apostle and a teacher. That's why I am suffering as I am. And yet I am not ashamed, because I woot whom I have believed. I know whom I have believed, and am convinced that he is able to guard what I have entrusted to him for that day. So on this Easter Sunday, if someone shares the good news that he is risen, feel free to respond with a wholehearted woot woot. I know. I know. And those are Wycliffe's words. See you again next week.